Right. Well, Eric, a little bit about Eric. As you guys know, he's the one on the bottom right. So he was an artist. And then he decided to, because his ex-girlfriend at that time encouraged him to get into sales. And imagine an artist into sales, and became the top salesperson in a company. What's the company's name again?
Yodel.
Yodel. And then from there, he decided he was number one. And like, usually people, the turnover rate on that is like within a month or two, they're gone. Right. And he was able to do from artist to this. And he feels like sales should be fun. Anyone can learn it with a framework. Cool. And now, Eric, take it over.
Tanya, you do such a good job explaining stuff. I love it. All right. So what I want to start off with you guys is an analogy. And I'm just going to make sure I've got some of my notes here. I have like sales is like hiking through a jungle. So you can either walk through thick brush, hacking with the heavy machete, or you can take a stroll through the lighted, wide, spacious dirt road. The more that you actually follow the same path, the more predictable, simple, and effortless it actually becomes to tread down that path, literally. So, the more you walk on a patch of grass, the more it becomes dirt. So when you do that, the ease that it allows you is to focus your attention on the unpredictable and dangerous variables of the jungle, like the spider webs and the jaguars and the snakes and the poison plants. So you actually get a chance to listen to your prospect if you know exactly what you're going to say. You don't have to think about what's going on there. And you get, when you're doing that, now you get a chance to not just look down at your feet, but check out the different delicious fruits that are there along the way. So if you choose to go down that new path, every single time you have a sales call, you are 100% just going to get exhausted. You're going to get the decision fatigue. And obviously, you're susceptible to getting eaten by a jaguar, bit by a snake. So in order to become like a well-oiled sales machine, you want to develop a linear and a repeatable sales process and strategy to guide your prospect from that connection to the closed one. So I want to show you guys a quick keynote to give you a background. I'm going to just go over the details of what makes what I think is a good sales call, some of the pitfalls, how to make sure that when you get to the end of the sale, right, like the end of the conversation, that it's just a matter of them saying yes, rather than you overcoming a million objections and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to do a screen share. Close your eyes, because I haven't figured out how to get the presentation to go to just start as soon as we begin. So close your eyes. Okay, and now you can open them. All right. Sales, your best friend. So I want to start off with a little quotation from Brian Tracy here. Anyone ever listened to Brian Tracy? Ever heard him? Just give me a shout out if you've heard him. Tanya, I can't see everybody's face, but just say, yep, unmute yourself for a second.
Yep.
Okay, great. You got it.
No.
No? Okay. Well, I'm going to do a quick impression of him. Sales is the heartbeat. The heartbeat of your business is sales. Dun & Bradstreet analyzed thousands of companies that had gone broke over the years and concluded that the #1 reason businesses fail was low sales. When they researched further, they found that the #1 reason for business success was high sales. And all else was commentary. So that's exactly how Brian Tracy sounds. So you want sales to be your best friend. You want to get comfortable with this because, it's your access to actually having your business succeed. Now, whether your business is based on getting new customers or it's focused on retention and upselling, it's all sales. So I just want to give you guys the beginning of what your sales call should look like. And you should create what I call an agenda. I didn't make up the word agenda, but the reason why it's important to have an agenda is so that you can control the phone call. If you're not controlling the call and where it's going to go, then there's no way that you can follow your process. The prospect will take control of the call. They could either dominate you with aggressiveness, or they could dominate you with their long-windedness and lack of focus. So you want to lay down the law. Essentially, if the prospect is not really willing to let you guide, you got to slap them across the face from the very beginning, or else this is not going to go well. All right, so let me give you an idea of what a good agenda is. So you want to tell them, I'm going to get a chance to know your business. That's what you tell them. What that means for you is, let's figure out your problem, and as Tanya likes to say, your pain points, through me asking you questions. So what I've got to say here is that the sale doesn't happen when you explain your product. The sale happens over the course of the conversation, in which your questions help them understand that you're somebody trustworthy that understands their business. So just like, when Tanya speaks to somebody about being an entrepreneur, because she's, opened so many businesses and she talks to people, there's not a single thing someone can throw at her that she hasn't already heard, that in like 5 different ways. So her questions are so pointed because she understands the needs of an entrepreneur. And if you just finish a conversation with her asking you questions, you're pretty much going to be like, all right, I've got to work with this woman. You want to create yourself as somebody like that. All right. Second thing is, I'm going to tell you about my product. Now, that's what you say to them, but only in the context of how it relates to your needs, Mr. Customer. So people don't understand what you do necessarily. Most people won't. In fact, you don't want to explain what you do. You want to only talk about what you do in the context of what they need. Now, if you offer, let's say, marketing services, SEO, PPC, website, Facebook ads, but that person has on the phone with you for PPC, and they're telling you, oh my God, my PPC provider sucks. I really got to get that AdWords campaign going. Then why are you going to talk about, something like reputation management or repitching that? No, you want to focus everything about how you can help them with PPC. Now, once they love you and they're free to work with you, you can talk about upselling or some of the other things you can do. But you got to get that person to essentially say yes to you about one thing in specific. The last piece is, you say, we can see if this is something you feel would help your business. So you're essentially just creating the opportunity to close that person on that call or get to that point in the conversation. You don't want to hide that. You got to drive an outcome on the call. What is the outcome? Put yourself up. What's the outcome at the end of this sales call? I'm asking a question to everybody here. This is not a trick.
For me, it's for them to buy, or to get them to get their partner to buy, either or.
That's great, Juliana. So the first thing you said is the first answer. I want you to buy this, ma'am. That's what you're trying to accomplish at the end of this call. Now, getting to know their business, you might uncover different things, like there is a partner or something like that. Depending on what your business is and what kind of sale process you have or your product, you might want to say, hey, I want to talk to you a little bit, but it sounds like it may make more sense for us to reconvene when your partner's there. You want to have that decision maker thing out of the way at the very beginning of the call when you're getting to know someone's business. Because if you're going to try to actually get the close here, you need to find out what the process is like. So if it's not going to close and you need to speak to this person first, then you want to make sure that you're positioning this so that it makes them look as good as possible when they're talking to the decision maker, or that this person is a real decision influencer and you got to go through them. So that's a whole nother conversation. Anybody else have an answer? All right, cool. So I want to talk about, there's 2 parts to every single business conversation, every sales call. There's the part of the conversation where you understand what they do, like you have a needs analysis. And then the second part of the conversation is when you talk to them about their product. Now, got to make it really clear. I'm going to stop the screen share here. We want to make it really clear in the process here is that the first half of the call should always end with, okay, I'm sorry, you shouldn't move on to the second half of the sales call unless you get a couple of different things. So the first thing that you need on that is you need to essentially make sure that there's a clear problem or opportunity. The second part is you got to make sure you drive that prospect to a commitment to take action on their problem. So if they don't see what you're doing as something, so they don't see what they have as a real problem and they're committing to take action, it does not matter what you do. You're just going to be speaking, you're going to be like, you know, you're going to be wasting your time on this phone call. So Juliana, you had some experience like that, you know, in which you have prospects, saying yes, oh my God, I love what you do, but they're not 100% actually willing to take action on it. So.
Yes, correct. I literally just got an email from someone that I was talking to, and she's traveling, and she emailed me yesterday, and she's like, right now I can't put anything else on my plate. I'm sorry. I'll talk to you when I get back to the States. And I'm like, really? I'm like your issue is the reason why you need me, and like this is what I get. So yeah, it's definitely that lack of urgency and like lack of like this is actually going to help me right now.
Yep. You want to make sure that when you get on the call with someone, that you are allowing them to discover through your pointed questions, like why their business really needs to do something. Without them actually like committing to solving their problem, your service doesn't matter. Tanya, it looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, I'm about to say, why don't you give an example, or why don't you do a role with like Juliana, because it's conceptual. So I just want to make sure that people can come away with like what to do.
Okay, sure. All right, Juliana, are you comfortable? Do you want to do like you pretend you're a marketing company, Juliana, or do you want to do your own business?
I don't know, either or. Doesn't matter to me.
Let's pretend you're a marketing company, right? You're a digital marketing agency that markets to voyeurs, right? Okay, so right now, let me just give you a little background. You are focusing on, what you want is 20 more private personal injury clients, and you've got 20 family law clients, okay? Okay. So, all right. So, Julia, I want to get a chance to know your business a little bit more. Okay. So what are your goals right now? What are you looking to do?
Well, right now, most of my business is doing family law, which is great, you know, because we've been doing it forever, blah, 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 you know, and me and my partner were like, you know, we're beasts at it, but I'm really starting to look at it. What was it? Insurance? Whatever.
Personal injury. Personal injury,
because you know, right now with everything happening, you know, people are like, you know, it's summertime. People are just getting, you know, fucked up. So, like, this is the best, you know, this is the best time to go after them. And, you know, we see like that this is definitely like a great niche for us and we want to do it, but we don't have any. And we have all these legacy clients, you know, but that's really what we want to do. I think we want to go after 20 this year. That's our goal.
Okay. Totally. Got it, Juliana. All right. So let me ask you this question. Just hold the phone for a second. So, let's say I pop on 20 personal injury clients for you. Like, could you handle that? I mean, right now, literally.
Well, between my partner and I, and then we've got some junior attorneys here, I think we could like make it work. I think we're kind of, you know, we'd be scrappy about it. But yeah, I think we could probably make it work.
Got it. Well, something pops up for me. There's a little bit of red flag there, Juliana, because when somebody calls you in about family law, you 100% know exactly what to say, what to do. You have like a total process there. I would say it sounds like from what I'm hearing from you, if you're a beast, you're probably closing at like up to 90%.
Yeah. Our closing rates are anywhere between 87 to 92. You're right.
Wow, keeping amazing stats on that. Well,
Yeah.
so if you had, 30 prospects calling in for personal injury, I don't know if you'd know how to handle that. Could you?
I don't know, man. We'd make it work, though. We'd make it work.
All right. Well, Juliana, let me ask you this. Now, Juliana, I want you to switch gears with me and actually just tell me that, you know what, let me just do family law instead.
Okay. Well, you know what? Yeah, we could just do family law. Like,
Okay.
We've been killing it. We'll keep killing it.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so how many more cases like that would you like to handle per month?
Per month, it'd be great to, just get in five a month.
Okay, so like now you're doing 20, you'd like to take on 5 more. What's a typical family law case worth to you?
Right now, usually it's about, 15K.
15K, yeah. So talking about child custody, divorce.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards, estate, depending on what we got.
Okay, got it. All right, cool. So,
because we deal with some high-end clients, where the family law gets into state, so it's a little bit more.
I got it. All right, so just let me ask you this. Like, you want 5 more. You've been around for a long time. What have you already done to get those 5 extra clients? Like, to help me understand what you're up to over there.
So right now we've got, we've got really phenomenal word of mouth. There's a couple people in a couple country clubs that, really spread the word, which is great when people get divorced. So that's awesome. Then, we've done, marketing's a little bit hard because, as in law, like there's regulation and stuff like that. So we've done, some AdWords on our own with our own team. And
how's that work so far?
AdWords is good. It's kept us pretty consistent. So it's been all right. And we can't really do any social media because of the regulation. It just gets too complicated. And we've got some peer review articles, going out. So that's gotten us a little bit of business. But the peer review stuff doesn't really work that well. It's just kind of more lawyers looking at lawyer stuff and
Yeah, no, I understand. So, I mean, what I'm hearing so far is like the 20 cases you're getting, it's like the sum of all the referrals and all the marketing that you're already doing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, like, it sounds like if your AdWords is working, why don't you just turn up the volume on that to get the 5 extra clients?
Well, because we're in growth mode, right? So right now I'm like, do I spend more money on AdWords or do I spend more money on getting a junior assistant? So like, that's where we're at, so.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah, got it. So what I'm thinking is, right now, you told me you could take on 5 more clients. Would you be able to do that without changing up your staff? And is that like 100% feasible without having to do anything new in your business?
Well, probably with 4 clients. With 5, like now we're pushing it.
Okay, great. So 4 clients is 100% doable for you right now.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, well, that's good to know because, realistically, this is only going to be as valuable as how many new clients you can take on. We're going to have to set the cap at that. So that's my thought is, why don't you turn up your AdWords to get you 4 more clients?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. So what's stopping you from doing that right now?
Well, the person that we have doing AdWords is kind of hit or miss, right? So like we've seen bid fluctuations and they keep, changing and I'm not sure what the hell the dude's doing. So it's like, I mean, sometimes we're getting some good lead gen and then other times it looks like it's turned off, but I go in there and it's good. It seems fine. It seems like everything is the same. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Like how are you measuring the success? How do you know if it's working?
Well, just based on the leads we're getting.
Okay. And so like every time someone calls, you pick up the phone and ask them how they found out about you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So like, is there any way that you can track that? Like the phone calls coming in so you can attribute it to your current marketing source?
Well, yeah, we do. We have a CRM right now that we're using and we track that. That's why I'm saying like sometimes it looks like it's good and sometimes it doesn't look like it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So I'm hearing from you is that you're not getting a report on the success or the results of your campaign.
Well, we are getting reports. I'm just saying, like, it's just so inconsistent. We
the
ask them,
results?
and the results are inconsistent. So like we're you know, we get our monthly reports and everything, and it's great, but you know, we're asking the dude, it's like, hey, why sometimes we get like, you know, 25 leads, and then other times we're getting like 3 leads, and then other times we're getting 50 leads. And they're like, oh, it's bid fluctuation, but it's got to be better than that, right? I don't know. And we just haven't found the time to get another person.
Got it. Okay. So you're actually looking for another person to do your campaign.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. And the reason for that sounds like it's because you don't believe that if you were to turn up the volume with your current guy, that it would actually get you more results.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like I need consistency, and there's just no consistency there. So I'm just like, I'm not going to spend more money.
Okay. So there's 2 things I'm hearing from you. One, you want to get 4 more clients to get yourself to capacity so you could hire another person. And 2, that you need to have a campaign that's going to generate more consistency.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And so, like, you know, taking 4 more clients on, that's like 20% extra work for you. I mean, is that something you're actually really interested in doing, or would it just be like, oh, that would be really nice?
No, we need to grow, man.
Yep. Got it. Okay, great. So you want to grow, you're taking on 20%. That would kind of set you guys up to take your business up to the next level. If you got those 4 and then you had a company that could up your marketing, you'd be able to hire the new person and you would be good, right as rain. Yeah?
Yeah, right as rain, I guess.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Now, pause. Great job, Juliana. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So I want to turn the tables to you guys. What did you notice about that call? What were the highlights for you? What did you get from hearing me talk to Juliana?
Question, what were you trying to sell? What was your side of it? Were you trying to sell AdWords to her, or what were you trying to sell?
Yeah, we were doing marketing in general, but I'm glad that wasn't clear. I'm personally selling a suite of marketing products, including AdWords in there.
Okay.
Okay. So what did you get? Anybody?
You're focusing on her needs and what she, like, specifically her situation, so that those needs came through very clearly on how they could fulfill, like, you know, make her situation better.
Yep. Exactly. Did I say anything about what I do?
Nope.
Now, do you know that I could help her just by how I talk to her?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And so that's the thing, is like, how would I possibly be able to ask those questions? So now where I'm getting at is, right now, based off of what I've said to her so far, what's happening is that she knows that I'm somebody that understands her business, and I've already done part of the selling process of why you should work with me. Now, when we get to the end of the call, how many times do you guys hear this? It's like, well, you know, like, I got to think about whether or not I really want to do this. And, you know, we can figure out if we can take on the capacity, and like, is this something that we actually want to do right now? Because we have a lot of things in the oven right now. Who hears that, Juliana?
I do.
Yep. Now, could you see how at the end of the call, I pretty much like double and triple wrapped up the bow on what it is you were looking to do and why you needed to do it? That was for you, Juliana.
Oh, sorry. I'm just on mute because there's a lot of background noise. I did, but I'm with Tanya. Like, I wasn't exactly sure what you were selling me. I was like, is he selling me sales? Is he like, I mean, like, I know you're selling me consistency in lead gen, but I'm like, what are you selling me?
Got it. Yeah. So the next sentence I'd say is like, listen, we 100% can help you with your AdWords campaign. And we could also help you just overall generate more of those clients consistently. But so the purpose of this, you know, was to show you guys and to wrap up with you, to let you know that I created a safety for myself as a salesperson and for my company. If I get to the end of the presentation and this person says to me, you know, Eric, I just need to think about this. I gotta, you know, gotta really figure out if I can handle this. I could say, well, actually, no, Juliana, that's actually bullshit. You just told me that you want to take on 4 new clients so you can grow the business, you can hire another junior associate, and you can make more money because you're going to grow or die. So let's like get to the bottom of this here right now, right? You know, based off of what I'm showing you, it sounds like you really believe that this is going to work. So what's really there for you? Is it the cost of the program, or are you not sure it's going to work? So, wow, boom, wow. Now I've got something to say back to that person. And they said, like, I want this and I need to do this. So now I'm pushing it back on them. It's like, so that pretty much puts them in a situation in which they're either lying, they're like they were lying, or they're not. Now, you're not being a jerk in saying that, but because you're putting it, you're turning the tables back on them, they're going to have to answer to that. And they'll probably own up to either 1 or 2 of those things. And you can be direct with them now.
What happens if they say, I still want to think about it, you know, let me make sure I gave you the right numbers or things of that sort? What would you say after that?
I'd say, sure, yeah. Like what, in regards to the numbers, like, by the way, I totally understand, Tanya, that you want to think about it because it's a big decision for your business. But in regards to the numbers that you gave me, like, is the case worth like $15,000 for an average divorce?
Well, that's what I wanted to look at, what the average order is and see what it is.
Okay, got it. So if the case was like worth $5,000 only, like 1/3, and like, you know, this service costs $2,500 a month, do you think that would still be worth it for you to work with us to get, right, $20,000 for $2,500 a month?
Mm-hmm. But right now we're looking into 3 other different companies.
Yeah, okay, got it. Mm-hmm. And so the other companies that you're looking into right now, do you think that they can help you get those 4 extra clients consistently?
Yes. So they all seem very similar.
Oh, really? So, got it. So earlier in the conversation when we were talking, I had asked you, like, what do you think sets us apart from any of the other like pitches you've heard? And what you told me was you really like the fact that you get the one-on-one customer service. And you mentioned to me that you really like the fact that I only work with attorneys. And you looked at my past profile and saw that how much success I'd already had. So listen, I totally get, like, you know, you're looking at a bunch of different companies. You want to make sure you get the right choice. But from what I heard from you, it sounds like you're really sure that this is going to be able to help you. And like, I know that you've got to try something, being that like there's literally no risk here involved for you because, you know, I'm taking all that out of there. I mean, what's stopping you from just giving this a roll?
So when did you ask that question before? Those are the questions I think that people would want to know, how you got them to, when you got to ask them like why they want to go with you, dedicated customer service, the lawyer. How'd you bring up that in the conversation?
Great. Yeah. So that's a really good thing you brought up. You thought you were going to get me, but I would never let the conversation get to that point. Right? Because in the way, so people are like, how do I get out of this situation? Don't get there in the first place. Right? Like, so if all of a sudden you're springing on me that I'm looking at 3 other companies, right? It's going to be really hard for me to for you to get there in the conversation with me based off of all the questions that I'm asking you, right? Because if you've heard 3 other presentations, you're going to know a lot about whatever the hell it is that I'm doing, that I'm offering you in the marketing front. You're going to ask me questions. So I'm going to gauge your level of understanding. Like, wow, you know a lot. Like, so let me ask you this, like, it sounds like you've been looking at this for a while. Like, what are some of the other things that you're considering? Because remember at the beginning of the conversation, I asked you, like, what else are you thinking about doing or are you doing right now to improve your marketing? Right? So if you're withholding that information, then you're withholding it. Like, I can't reveal that. But over the course of the conversation, I could get a chance to know, like, really how much you know. And then I could kind of tweak my conversation with you based off of your understanding and knowledge of that kind of campaign. So by the time we're at the end, you're so clear, and I could offer different things that would separate us from anything else you've heard so far. And throughout the presentation, like, I hate giving a one-way talk. What I always do is I'm like, all right, so right after we get into, like, we do the intro about like who we are, what kind of company, I pause and I say to people, okay, listen, I'm sure you get a million presentations all the time about marketing or about casting or about entrepreneurs. You're pitched with stuff all the time. So judging from what like I've talked to you about so far, what do you think actually sets this apart from anything you've heard? Or what is it that you'd like to hear from me that would have you be really impressed or surprised? Or like, you know, you've been pitched so many times before, like what is it that you're looking for that I can do for you? So now, instead of just like pissing into the wind here, what you're doing now is you're letting them tell you what it is that they are looking for and what they want. Now, you've already asked that in a lot of different ways based off of what their needs are, but now you're talking about that in reference to your company in specific.
So Peter, do you have any questions? Because I know Peter goes through sales calls. Where's Peter? Oh, Peter has it on.
Peter Blankwall. Wait, so actually, you know, I'd really like to hear from Jonathan. I don't want to put him on the spot, but, you know, this is probably a conversation you have all the time. You're on mute, man.
But, you know, typically my goal in sales conversations is to get to people to say yes, 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 and get them to come along positively. When the objections come up like that, yeah, you want to uncover what all the objections are. And typically a question will come up like, if I did this and if we did that, or if we solved this and if we did that, Mr. Customer or potential customer, then would you, you know, be willing and ready to sign up for this program, you know, this week? So, you know, that's my direction on it, is trying to get them to commit to something by solving the objections. And then if they still, you know, push back with objections or delays, then the next step for me is generally, so when will we be able to reconvene and talk about issue blah, blah, blah that is preventing you from being able to go forward with this today?
Yep. Now, I like the concept behind like having them being very direct and just saying, this is how it is. The only issue with that is that you got to get to the bottom of the situation. So how do you close a deal, or why wouldn't you close the deal? Is that you haven't closed all the doors that would have them getting out.
Right.
And you got to do that during the course of the presentation. And how you do that is anytime you hear something, like you can hear doubt, or you can hear like, well, don't pass over that. Ask the question, like, listen, Tanya, I'm hearing from you right now that like, you know, you have an AdWords guy, but are you convinced that like AdWords is actually a good way to get new clients? And then boom, now is when you have to spill the beans. You're like, well, I didn't get success and I know people are clicking. And then now is when you say, all right, hold the phone, forget about me. Like, do you believe that the type of service that I offer will actually get you new business? Right? Because if you think about, if you're on a sales call with somebody and you're dealing with, there's two things that you might have to do on the call. One, you might need to sell the person that the type of service that you do is something that they need. And two, you might need to sell them that you're the guy that should provide that. That's a way harder sale than when that person at the beginning of the call is already bought into the type or category of services that you provide. Then you just need to sell them on your service. Now, if somebody has no experience with AdWords and they're excited about doing it, then the conversation is really about you selling what it is that you do that would differentiate you. But if that person has a doubt about the category of service that you offer, then the number one thing that you want to get out of the way before you talk about anything that you do is to have them be sold that they need to do that, and that is a great thing and it's the solution to their problem. So at the end of the conversation, if that's established in part one, and then you're established as the number one dude to do that, then at the end, there's only two objections that are real. Any objection is a false objection or another permutation of these two objections. those two objections are, I don't have the money. And the second one is, I don't think this is going to work. I don't have the money is a real objection 2% of the time. 98% of the time, it's, I don't think this is going to work, right? If you were certain, Jonathan, that this service for the $2,500 a month that you're going to pay was going to bring you those 4 new clients at 5 or 15K each, I imagine you would be chomping at the bit to get rolling, right?
Right.
Yeah. So whatever you've got going on, like, you know, even if it would stretch you too thin, by the way, we've already gotten rid of the, it would stretch you too thin and you can't handle it. That's not something you're going to bring to me, right? So if it's, you know, if you believe that's going to bring it to you, get on board. There's really nothing that they can say. Now, you could deal with the issue of, I don't think it's going to work. You can't deal with whatever problems they're dealing with in their office that you haven't already revealed. Because now the conversation shifts to, I'm going to find out what part of the process or what part of my program do you not think will work? And that's a conversation that I can have with you right now and solve.
And what happens if there's a timing that they're maybe on vacation or they're hiring people or all of that? They want to do your service, but that comes up. How are you going to address that?
Well, that'll come up in the first half of the call.
So I would love to like know more like the questions, right? Because like what are some questions that you know you always ask, but in different ways? Like how do you know which ones that you always cover in there?
I listen to see if that person already has a sense of urgency. So there's like a set of questions that I would ask someone and I would poke. If I'm hearing anything but like the affirmative on calls. So can you give me a situation I could role play with you to help you understand that?
Sure. So you're going to be Jonathan. Jonathan does do AdWords and Facebook. And I will be somebody who has an e-commerce business. Great.
Okay.
So
and just for the record, I just want to point out, by the way, that whether you're talking about marketing or whether you're talking about like PR or whatever, it's all the same thing. If they think that your service is going to work, then they're going to buy from you. And if they don't, then they're going to have a hesitation.
Great.
Okay, go ahead, Tanya. All right, so you're an e-commerce company and I'm selling AdWords and I'm Jonathan. Okay, go ahead, talk to me. So you're jumping in with, we're at the beginning and the part 1 of the sales conversation, in which I'm figuring out what your needs are, and I'm driving you to say, I want to get
so let's say we covered all of it. Let's say you know what I sell, you know what type of marketing I do, and you know I'm looking into different ways of marketing, and I'm not convinced that Facebook is the way to go. Right? So you could probably hear that being like, oh, I'm looking into SEO, I'm looking to Facebook, I'm looking to AdWords, trade shows, all of that.
Yeah, got it. So I'm trying to sell you in particular Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so Tanya, you mentioned that you're pretty busy right now, right? And so I guess like trade show would probably take you a lot of time and money. It's like a pretty serious investment. So I don't think that would be the best option for you based off of your business right now. Now, you know, the conversation of whether SEO and PPC, all that stuff, like whether it actually works, like I think there's no question that it does, because I'm going to assert that you've tried some other things before in the past, right?
I have, yes.
Do you have SEO and AdWords that are currently running right now?
I haven't, but I do have a budget. So I'm kind of thinking about how much I can spend with $2,000 a month.
How much you can spend $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know where I want to put it in. So it all depends on how much. So if I wanted to do Facebook ads, do I want to spend, will $500 or $1,000 give me the ROI I need?
Okay. So you were talking about ROI, right? Like what's going to be your return on your investment? So that's like efficiency of product. But let's go back to how many clients that you said you wanted to get, right? Which was 4?
Got it. So, okay, so I'm seeing the pattern. So what you're doing is you're drilling into the questions to see if they really want it and then the capacity. Now, say you answered all of those and the person still, for some reason, still doesn't have the time. How do you know when that happens? And do you just get off the call or
Have
just
the time for what?
like maybe they're still not convinced, right? So you asked all these questions, you went back and forth, and they're still not convinced. Because this happens often, right, to many people in that sense.
Yeah. So the reason why somebody would still not be convinced is because you're not listening to them. You did not hear the red flag, and you didn't have the balls to stop the conversation and say, stop. I'm like, I know this is going to sound funny, but I don't know if I'm convinced that you're convinced that this is even a good idea. So let's pause the conversation because I want to make sure that I'm maximizing your time. So like, let's address that. Like, do you actually think that Facebook ads, Tanya, is something that will actually work to get you a return?
Got it. So those are 3 good points. So for everybody to kind of see. So if you don't hear it, you pause the conversation and then ask them. So see if their interest is there. And if they say no, then what are you going to do about that?
Great question. So this is, it's a great thing if they say no. There's 2 paths that you can go down. But okay, I got that you don't believe that right now. And you decided to take this call because it sounded like there was probably something you thought I could help you out with. I mean, you knew that this conversation was about Facebook ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you open to learning about why it is that Facebook ads could help your business?
So that's one way to do it, summary, and then going back to learning. What would be the second option?
The second option is, wow, it sounds like you're really not interested in hearing about Facebook ads. Like, you're not open to hearing about how they can help you. So it doesn't sound like it's worth it to continue this conversation right now.
Great.
And now you've saved an hour of your life.
Perfect. I think, did everyone hear that? That's probably what most people are missing and they don't do.
Mm-hmm. Now, people have like these social norms on a sales call. They don't want to do something like that because it feels like mean or awkward. But you know, it's really bad and mean to waste an hour of your time and someone else's time. That's really bad and mean. That doesn't work. And your time is really valuable as an entrepreneur. So why would you spend your time like that? Now, that person will appreciate your candor, and the takeaway, you call that the takeaway, that might even be like, wait, hold on. I'm actually interested in this Facebook ads. You got to understand, I've been burned so many times. Boom, now they've opened up. Now, okay, well, so what happened, man? Right? And then you say, well, what did you do? I did AdWords. I gave this guy $5,000. Nothing happened. Wow. Now you get a chance to dig into what happened. Who were they? What was their expertise? What did they say they were going to deliver? And then you get that person to understand that what didn't work was because that person didn't do that right, or that way of doing business, or they did like a mail out, right? That doesn't work. So this is not that. This is, and then you go into, listen, I get that didn't work, but don't you know that people are like using Facebook? Like 76% of people are on Facebook every day. The average person spends 2.5 hours on there. All right. Like, I don't know about you, but I would definitely want to get in front of those people for 2.5 hours. Right. So it's like you're in a win-win situation, but you gotta, if you're attached to something or like having this call go one way, you're going to be in trouble. What you want to do is like allow it to go like what, where it needs to go in the conversation. Now, people, here's like the number one thing people are always saying. It's like, Eric, I don't want to lose the sale. You don't have a sale. Until that person gives you the credit card, there is no sale. There's no sale that's happening until you get a yes and get that credit card. Don't be under the impression that you had anything. Now, if you do the call, you go down every single path, you make sure you've asked every single question, and you've closed all the loops. You've answered the objection, gone back to asking for the business or got back on your path for your process. And at the end, the person is unreasonable, unwilling, they're BSing you, then you can get off that call feeling confident that you did everything that there was to do. And the chances are, if you did your process right, then, and that person's still being the way they're being, that maybe you might not want them as a client to work with. Or maybe you guys need to take a break from talking and let them deal with that. Or maybe you want to say, like, listen, I'm not going to work with you right now because of these 3 reasons. Like, I'm not going to work with you because you want 20 personal injury clients and you've never done another personal injury case. Now, I'm not even hearing that you're actually bought into changing your business like that. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to actually get some personal injury cases under your belt somehow. I'd like you to actually commit to, I really want to do this. And I want you to call me back when you're actually ready to get that business coming in and you can handle it, because that's what's going to happen if you work with me. I'm going to bring you that business. And if you can't take it on, then this conversation is probably premature, but I know that I can help you. So why don't you go take some time to think about this with your partner, make sure that we're on the same page there, that you want to do this, and then call me back and I will definitely help you.
Cool. And I know that you listen to a lot of, so what he does with his clients, he listens to a lot of people's sales calls. So they record it. What are the top mistakes that you've seen people do that they don't even notice they do, and you probably assume that most people do?
Number one thing that people could be doing that they're not doing is, well, the first thing is confidence. Like probably 7% of what you say on a call is content, and 93% is how you say it and how you come at the call. So like before a call, you gotta like get pumped up and be like, I can do this, I can help them. Like you wanna leave the first half of the call knowing that you can help them. Now, you're not selling them, just them, that they have a problem. You are convincing yourself that you can help them. Because if you don't believe after that first half of the call that you can help them, hold the phone and ask them questions to make sure, because you got to be sold if you want to sell them. That's the first thing. And if you can help them, you got to go to the mat and do everything that you can to make sure you sell that product to them as well as possible. And they say yes, because if they don't hire you and they have a problem, they're going to hire somebody else. And if you believe in yourself, then you know that you're doing a disservice to them if you don't have them buy from you. The other side of the equation is what people are not doing is they have a person say yes and they don't get them to commit. So at the end of every single, there's 2 parts to the sale. There's what you say, and then there's the mechanics of the sale. The mechanics are the literal, like, we're going to have a phone call at this time. I'm going to send you an email with a link to sign. I'm going to take your credit card information. So no matter how smooth you are, if you don't get the mechanics of the sale, and part of that is your CRM, how you keep track of each conversation, knowing exactly where everyone is and keeping notes, right? That's all part of the mechanics of the sale, not the art of the sale. Because I'm an artist, I like to separate those 2 things. Then at the end of that call, if you do not have a commitment from that person, and that commitment is coming from payment or a signed contract, then you don't have a sale. You got nothing to lose because you don't have anything. So if you can't get that person to take an action, or if that person won't take an action, then the yes that they gave you is a false yes. Because there's 3 kinds of yeses. I read a negotiation book. There's the yes, like, oh yeah, keep going. There's the yes, like, get off my back. And there's the yes, damn, I really want this. And you've got to hear which yes that is. And you'll find out based off of what actions they're willing to take right now. Is that anybody else actually?
Can you go talk about that a little further? So how would you distinguish the one that's like, yes, get off my back? It's like the, yeah, I'll look into it. I'll read that email, send the proposal. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a difference. First of all, you got to listen the entire call whether someone's engaged. If someone is engaged and they like you, let me just back up. I don't care if somebody likes you. You want them to respect you. Now, if you get someone to respect you and then like you, that's really good. But during the entire conversation, if you don't have a feel where that person's at, then when you get to the end, I don't know how you're going to be convinced that you're going to sell to them. So if you're following a process and if you're using a script, right, like you know exactly what you're going to say, then you don't have to spend any of your energy on figuring out what the next step is to say. And all of your energy is going to spend on listening to them. Now, if you're listening, and then you're, you know, a general human being with normal social skills in general, you're going to be able to hear any doubts, any concerns, any questions. You're going to know how engaged they are. You're going to know where they stand always. And if you're not clear, then you could pause and be like, hey, I just want to jump in for a second. Do you hate me? Like, if you think that person hates you or they're bored out of their mind, just be like, pause for a second. Like, listen, I'm sure you get tons of sales calls all the time. And like, is this interesting? Like, do you think that, like, from what I've told you so far, that, you know, you'd be willing to do something like this, or that it's going to be worth your time for us to continue talking? Then you just create this binary situation. If they say no, then bye. If they say yes, then now they're brought in further to talking to you. So I think what you want to get is, like, if you're not like getting a pulse on where they're at throughout the entire conversation, it's got to be a conversation, then you're probably going to get things at the end that are like duck ads. Like, oh, gotta go, bye, sounds good, talk to me later, bye. Nobody's going to do that to you if you're engaged with them the whole time. And if they do that to you, it's, you got to be willing to say at the end, like, hold on, like, actually, like, put your foot on the brake and let, like, the passenger, like, almost their head hit the windshield. You got to put the pause on that. And you got to say, we just went over this. Like, I need to know, like, I got to find out from you right now. Is this something that you're actually interested in? Because if you are, we need to set up a time to talk if you're running away. Like, we've got to do that because I know you have to go, but we need to continue this conversation because it sounds like this is something that you'd like to do. Now, can you give me 2 minutes right now for us to wrap this up? And then you re-gauge their interest. You resell them, so to speak. And you get them to commit to something with you that's going to be realistic. Like, we got to talk in a half hour today. We got to do this. Now, I don't like that at all. I don't like the follow-up. I don't like anything. I want you to make that sale right then and there. But sometimes you might not be able to. But so if you're at the point where you, like, give a proposal to somebody, not every person has, like, more of a transactional sale. You got to create a proposal and you got to come up with it, et cetera. Then what you want to do is, like, listen, it sounds like you really want to do this. I'm going to give you an outline of everything that it is I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to send over that to you. It's going to be done by Monday morning. I want to set up a time with you on Monday afternoon so we can go over it immediately while it's fresh in your head. Can we do that right now? Like, you've got to be moving it along the conveyor belt of the sales process. So if that person has any hesitation in setting up a time with you, don't make a proposal. Stop them, like, wait, are you excited to see this proposal? Like, you've got to be able to ask those questions that are really awkward. Because sales, like, it's not like a friend. It's not. It is a different kind of conversation. The conversation about being straight. Tanya, does that answer your question?
Great. So we have 7 more minutes. Anyone have any last questions?
I do.
Yes, Nina.
Hi, Eric. So in a way, you started talking about what I wanted to hear about just in what you just said. So I am often in a position, I'm a filmmaker turned video marketer, and I help small businesses. So if I do put out a proposal, so I don't have as much an issue of convincing people of my services. I think once they land with me, they're pretty sure that I'm the one. Where I falter in the sales process is with pricing when it comes to custom video, because it often is a lot more expensive than what people expect it to be. And then I'm sort of in that awkward position of having to justify why it costs so much. And then I get in the minutia that I just don't, I'm trying not to get suckered into that, but some pointers how to create the value or how to not have those conversations would be very helpful. Does that make sense?
Totally, yeah. So there's 2 points in the conversation in your sale process that you need to tighten up in order to avoid a situation like that. First of all, you never need to justify your price. What happens is someone says, wow, that's a lot of money, and you think you need to say something after that. You don't. You could just zip it and let them like be with the fact that they said that. That you've already proven your value. You've already said that. So that's at the end. Now, at the beginning of the conversation, when you get that person to admit why they need that, you gotta, if they argue with you, you gotta bring it back up. Let's say you said you need a video because people need to see what you do on video in order to buy from you. This is the lifeblood of your business. So you can hire any kid in college to make a video for you, or you can hire somebody who knows what they're doing and is going to 100% serve the exact purpose that you set out to do.
Yeah. So bring it back to their need, basically.
Exactly. Bring it back to what they want. Now, if you bring it back to what they want and what your service will do for them, then at that point, it's like, oh yeah. That $10,000 for this video, like, it would totally be worth getting. Like, I'd be like, wouldn't you be shocked, Nina, if this video did not produce new clients for you? Like, if you got one new client from this video, it would pay for itself. I get that $10,000 sounds like a lot of money, right? But you have to think about why it is we have this conversation in the first place. And then you go in.
So basically, follow-up question to you, and thank you very much. It's extremely helpful. So, you know, early on, what I tried to do is steer the conversation to money pretty much immediately. So I can kind of weed out the, you know, $200 a video people from the $5,000 a video people or whatever it is. But sometimes I feel I'm shortchanging myself because I might do that too early in the conversation.
Yes. Pause. We have like 3 minutes, so I'm just going to interrupt you right now. So you're doing that because you're already afraid of that end conversation.
Yeah.
But if you're doing the needs analysis and you understand what their needs are and their business, each client is worth $20,000 or $3,000, or even if it's $1,000 or $500, but it's a volume-based business, then, and you know how many clients they're doing, you know they're making money and they can afford it. And at the end, if they like, well, this is a lot of money, be like, well, you're a cheap bastard because you're going to make a lot of money. You have money and this is worth it. So stop nitpicking over this. This is why you're sucking it up already. Like, so if for somebody tells me that my service is $2,500 and a dude is getting $300 off of like some sort of like back alley divorce case and he wants 10 more months, I'm going to be like, well, I'm not going to continue this conversation with you. Your income is $3,000 right now, and my product's $2,500. So unless this person like somehow like won the lottery and has money, then that's going to be the red flag that comes up. Does that answer your question?
Yep. Thank you.
Cool, Eric. Do you want to offer them in the sense of like reviewing a script or anything, or?
Yep. So what I think, now that this is fresh in your head, I want you to take whatever it is that you have for a process. And if you don't have a process, make one right now. And I want you can feel free to send it to me and let me take a look at it. You know, give me a summary of what it is that you do and then what your process is for a sales call, or it can even be your initial call, like the cold call or inbound referral, whatever it is, it's all the same thing at the end of the day. And I will go ahead and take a look at it for you, and we can set up a call for like 20 minutes if you want, and I'll go over you know, anything that you need to be able to see what you might be able to put in or tweak there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eric. And I will be sending everybody a summary later on this week about the notes, and because there's a lot of great nuggets there that could have been just like looked past, and it's So he does this all the time. So it's present to him like, oh yeah, this is the next turn. This is what you should ask. So I'm going to try to organize it so you guys can see what questions to ask, where to make that turn.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tanya. We could
And
do
your
a
email.
whole, yeah. Let me type that email in at my, at the chat box over here for a second. So Tanya, what's also interesting is that any of the things that I already said here, like even just the decision maker conversation could be a whole freaking hour.
Yeah, I
Or
can.
just the questions on like, how much business do you want? How much business do you have? That could be an hour. Or like the transition into the close, just that like one paragraph of like, yeah, so listen, you said you wanted this, I can provide that. Allow me the opportunity to do business with you. Like that one thing could be a whole freaking 5-hour series. So there's a lot of ways in which you could just improve your business by doing the same thing every time. Like even if you have a crappy process, it's better than no process.
Awesome. So his email is ejbrief@gmail.com. Cool, guys. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you so much, Eric.
Thank everybody else. Thank you. I had a great time. You're all awesome. I hope you guys get aggressive and break out of your comfort zone because your comfort zone is not getting you enough sales.
This is good. Love that closing. All right. Take care, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.